Sadiq Khan faced some criticisms over the fact that he said many times he wasn't getting involved in the Labour leadership battle, and then he did. He is now facing some criticism over a joke he made about Jeremy Hunt. Me personally, I think it was quite funny, and dare I say, with an element of truth. Sadiq Khan admitted in an interview with Time Out that he used to have a 10-minute stand-up routine, and one joke he used to tell was one about Jeremy Hunt, which played on the fact that Hunt was gutless, spineless and heartless. Now, whilst this may be true, Sadiq Khan has received some flack over the promises he made on getting his position as mayor. The most flack that came was over his major promise of freezing transport prices. Me personally, I want to focus not on the promises broken by Khan, who I thought right at the beginning was good for the role of mayor. I may have been wrong. I want to focus on the fact that he may well be right about Jeremy Hunt, and he seems, or is, at loggerheads with the young doctors, and he said many times that his views on the NHS are not for privatisation, and yet he co-authored a book of that very nature. The policy pamphlet called for the NHS to be replaced by an insurance system, and also called for the private sector to be brought in. He has denied that they are not his views, even though he is listed as one of the authors. On page 78 and 82, it points out the fact that healthcare in Britain should be denationalised, and then only extending the choices available to the minority who opt for private provision. It also states that 850,000 people are still waiting for treatment in England. It also states that number of managers is increasing 3 times as fast as the number of doctors and nurses. But again, Jeremy Hunt says that this does not reflect his views on the NHS. Now, I have pointed out many times how politicians, in my opinion, have taken backhanders or donations, as you should call it. Now, the reason why I say that is because in 2014, according to Unite, Jeremy Hunt received 2 donations, not one like most of them, but 2 to his constituency office from hedge fund boss Andrew Law. And Mr. Law has donated well over £600,000 to the Tories, and his firm holds multi-million-pound healthcare investments. Now, Len McCluskey, at the time of this donation coming to light, said over £13 billion of our local services have fallen into private hands. I'm not sure I would use the word fallen, but so the views in the policy pamphlet, are they the views of Jeremy Hunt? And does he really care on protecting the NHS from people like the railways just out to make money from, regardless of the state that it's in? I'll let you decide on that one. And with donations going on like this, and as I've said before, private companies winning contracts, there are other ways private companies are making a fortune off the back of the NHS, and that's through private finance initiative. And these accumulate large debts that have to be paid at a very high interest and at the cost of the taxpayer. And according to the Telegraph, the price tag for repaying PFI firms will reach a staggering £8.6 billion just next year on its own, and we the taxpayer will end up forking out £121.4 billion on public projects, which because of interest they are really only worth £52.9 billion. So Jeremy Hunt is now trying to find a way out of this, but again at the detriment of the doctors and the NHS as a whole. But of course he will never tell you that. And again, according to the Telegraph, the NHS is spending $3,700 every single minute to pay for PFI financed hospitals. The companies are making a huge profit from the NHS, and so are the people that are receiving, here comes that word again, donations. It's our money that is paying all these, in my view, unnecessary debts. And you could well argue, Well, the politicians pay tax as well, and you're right, they do. But as we all know, they also claim thousands in expenses. And if you are getting donations for an office that amounts to £600,000, I think you're capable of paying a little bit of tax. The Royal College of Nursing said that the figures showed that PFI deals were poor value for money, and said that the funds would have been better spent on patient care, and I think they're right. If the government funded the NHS properly in the first place, it wouldn't be in the mess that it is now. As I said with the railways in a previous video, this country has become a money pot, a stash for companies in the surrounding area of this planet to accumulate profit, then take it and run, and we are left to foot the bill. And if there are donations flying around all over the show, I'm guessing it will never end. Because once you have enough money and you become wealthy, if you are sensible, you never really lose it. What happens after that, what you have to pay out, you don't really worry about. And I'm talking about politicians. The Telegraph did an investigation and they found out that 104 NHS trusts in England have to pay private companies 1.6 billion during the last financial year, and that's enough to pay for treatment for cystic fibrosis for 20 years. Should the doctors strike? You betcha. Will they get what they want? A better run, better financed service. The suffragettes wanted a vote for women, as I said in one of my videos. They stuck with it. Did they get what they want? Look around and you'll find out. Do you agree with what was said in this video? If you do, click on the thumbs up, and if you support the young doctors, click on the thumbs up. By all means, click the red button, subscribe. You'll never miss an episode. Together united, we really can get a better political system. We have to make things better for not just for ourselves, but for everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. The suffragettes wanted a video for